When my oldest brother took my inheritance and said it was his right, I broke inside. But after this, hurt I built a path with proof, not noise or pride. I learned slow hands beat fast talk every time. I carried pain like a stone and shaped it. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're listening in the comments. My name is Victor, and I'm the middle son. My older brother is Aaron, and my younger is James. We grew up with one rule from Dad. "Keep your word, and it will keep you," he said. I wrote that line on a card and kept it. It helped when the house turned cold and hard. Money changes rooms faster than winter wind. You know that chill that sits behind the ribs. It grows when jokes hide knives and smiles fade. I started to feel that chill most nights. I want to talk to you like a friend. I fix phones and small gear with steady hands. I like order, clean tools, and honest books. If it works, it works. No spin needed. I printed cards for $1 to start. Victor Repairs. Honest work, fair price, fast reply. I set prices I could defend every day. Screen swap 35 to 60, model decides. Battery 30 to 45, risk decides. Port clean 20, 25 if stubborn. The first cracks came quiet, like tiny snaps. My labeled food box started going empty often. Rice gone, chicken gone, no message at all. I asked calm, "Who touched my food box?" Silence first, then jokes about me being serious. Jokes can be cheap. Walls men hide behind. I didn't chase them around the kitchen. I drank water and said, "Plan, not anger." When food goes missing, planning beats shouting. I wrote new rules to carry one day at a time. I tracked every coin in a cheap blue notebook. Date, job, parts, sale, and a clean net line. Numbers kept my head steady when hearts shook. Numbers don't lie when people bend truth. I added names to show who paid fair. I logged costs and time down to minutes. If I felt shame, I opened the book first. If I felt heat, I wrote more lines calmly. Calm grows where order repeats daily. That book became a mirror I could trust. Then the will reading turned into a storm. Dad left us each a fair share on paper. My cut was $38,000 even. I planned to buy tools, parts, and a small van. Aaron said, "Let me manage it for you." He asked for signatures to speed the bank. I signed one form and felt my gut twist. A week later, the account showed near zero. He said, "It was Dad's wish. Trust me." My chest went hollow and my hands felt numb. I asked for records and he laughed at me. "You're too slow to handle real money," he said. James looked down and mumbled about timing. I checked the bank and saw transfers to Aaron. He called it family needs and urgent bills. My name was on nothing except the start. I felt like disappearing from my own life. Have you ever felt that alone in a full room? Would you keep fighting, or would you fade? Sit with that question for a quiet minute. I opened my drawer and found less cash again. 200 gone, no note, no call, nothing. I checked my labeled parts box and found it light. 2 screens missing, plus my best tweezers. I poured water and ate oats with slow breath. Saving words saves strength for real fights later. I wrote each loss in my blue notebook. Writing turns pain into a map you can follow. Maps help when pride kicks dust in your face. I needed a map more than I needed noise. Dinner brought the slap that drew a line. Aaron said, "Stop whining about money and work." I said, "It was my share, and you know it." He stood, reached, and slapped my face once. Not hard, but cold and sharp like a blade. James stared at his phone and stayed silent. My plate slid away like I wasn't there. "Pay extra or don't eat," Aaron told me. I had paid my share for the week already. I ate oats and water and held my voice level. I offered one last clean plan to both brothers. You return my share in monthly steps with receipts. I fix, you refer, James tracks cash, equal split. Eyes tell truth first. Their eyes said no already. Aaron said, there is no split. Grow up. James said, maybe later, and looked away. I folded that plan and put it in my book. I wrote a new plan that did not need them. 5 lines that fit in pocket and chest. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. I printed 10 cards and handed them out daily. I told clients, if I break it, I fix it. I told them, if I can't, I say so fast. Men respect plain truth more than bright talk. Bright talk fades by morning. Truth pays for years. I film test clips before closing hard jobs. Proof turns your fault into silence without heat. I set a 7-day work warranty, parts as is. I kept records like my name depended on them. Because it did, and I knew it did. Friend, here's the part you need to hear. I stood close to the edge and held my letter. I was seconds from giving up completely, brother. Then I chose one small act I could control. I messaged 3 buyers with fair, plain words. I tested parts before money ever left my hand. I walked 10 minutes and matched breath to steps. I told myself, build one true day only. That single choice kept me standing for tomorrow. And tomorrow is where I start to fight back right. We were close once, or I believed we were. We moved like one team most days. I want you to picture 3 brothers and one rule. Keep your word, and it will keep you, Dad said. I wrote that line on a card and kept it. Aaron called it cute and shook his head. James nodded because nodding was easy for him. Back then, our table had jokes, plans, and hope. We thought loyalty would carry us through anything. Have you ever trusted a bond that later cracked? I fixed small things because details calm my mind. You know that quiet focus when screws line up. It makes the noise fade to a soft, I cleaned ports with patient strokes and even breath. I tested touch lines before closing any frame. Results tell the truth without flashy talk. If it works, it works. No spin needed. Aaron lived fast and loved shortcuts and noise. He liked deals that felt like winning races. James drifted between us, pulled by whatever looked strong. We built a small house code to guide us daily. Pay bills on time and clean tools after work. Keep doors locked and share chores without drama. For a while, we followed it with no fights. I believed we were tight because it looked tight. But tight can crack if values change inside. Respect is glue. If it dries, everything splits. I noticed new jokes that hid small knives. Counting pennies again? Said with a grin. Those pennies kept lights on, and I knew it. There was a day that still feels warm to me. A neighbor asked us to fix his dead outlet. I checked lines twice before switching power. The lamp turned on, and we all smiled. Aaron said, "Too slow," but his eyes looked proud. James snapped a photo and said, "We're a team." Moments like that can trick a soft heart. They make you think the bond won't break. But storms don't always start with thunder. Sometimes clouds drift in and decide to stay. Money pressure grew like weeds after rain. My labeled food box started to run empty. Rice gone, chicken gone, no message, nothing. I asked calm, "Who touched my food box?" Silence first, then jokes about being serious. Jokes are cheap walls men hide behind. I didn't chase them around the kitchen. I drank water and said, "Plan, not anger." When food goes missing, planning beats shouting. I wrote new rules to carry for one day. I started tracking every coin in a blue notebook. Date, job, parts, sale, and a clean net line. It sounds dull, but it saved my head. Numbers don't lie when people bend truth. They give you rails when your floor shakes. If I felt shame, I opened the book first. If I felt heat in my chest, I wrote more. Calm grows where order repeats daily. I added names to show who paid fair. That book became a mirror I could trust. Aaron shifted faster and sharper than before. Small jokes turned into cutting comments often. He told me to go faster than I should. He rolled his eyes when I tested parts twice. He filmed my kit and called it playtime online. James laughed to show he stood with him. Laughter can be a weapon when guards drop. Have you ever smiled while your gut tightened? You feel the room tilt while standing still. You learn silence can be stronger than speeches. I kept handing out my simple white cards. Victor repairs. Honest work. Fair price. Fast reply. People liked the words honest work most. They said other shops promised and failed often. I said, if I break it, I fix it, clearly. It landed with men who live by labor. It said I would own my mistakes fully. It also reminded me to slow my hands. Slow is smooth when you build trust. Trust is backbone of a quiet life. The will talk started like a normal plan. Dad said shares would be fair and clean. We drank tea and spoke like grown men. Aaron smiled and said he would handle papers. James said, sounds fine, and checked his phone. I asked for copies and clear timelines. They both said yes and kept their faces calm. That was the last normal night we had. Calm can be a mask when greed warms up. I should have listened to the knot in my gut. I remember counting my tools like a habit. Drivers tight, pry cards flat, alcohol sealed tight. I told myself, stand on proof, not feelings. Proof had carried me through smaller storms. I thought family would honor proof and time. Family should build you, not tax you. Have you ever felt a shift you couldn't name yet? You feel the floor tilt under steady feet. You hope you're wrong and keep moving. I kept moving and held my line anyway. Before the papers, we still had a few laughs. We fixed a neighbor's phone and ate cheap pizza. I paid half, and they said they'd send later. Later never came, and I let it slide. Small slides add up when trust runs thin. I told myself to watch actions, not words. Words can sing while hands take from you. Actions put truth on the table fast. I watched and wrote notes in my blue book. You can see how the ground was shifting now. We were three, but we were not together. Old jokes covered new debts and quiet grabs. I stayed calm and built habits I could keep. Habits hold you when storms test your frame. Soon, the papers would land like a hammer. Soon, the jokes would turn into real harm. Stay with me, friend, and keep your breath slow. The next step will show the first deep cut, and how I held control when pride swung hard. He called me to the bank and said it was simple. He slid a form across the table and smiled wide. Just sign here, and we speed things up, he said. I read the top line and saw authorization to manage. I asked for a copy, and he laughed at me. Trust me, Victor, I got this, he said. I signed one line and felt my gut twist hard. Have you ever signed something and felt cold? That cold means your instincts are shouting quietly. I should have stood up and walked out then. A week later, my account showed near zero. My share was $38,000 on paper clean. The balance read $240 left. Transfers to Aaron with notes like family needs filled lines. He called me and said, it was Dad's wish. I said, show me papers. And he changed tone fast. He said, grow up, I'm handling what you can't handle. James texted, let it go, you'll be fine soon. Fine is a word men use to hide damage. Damage needs light, not fog and smooth lines. I asked for receipts and a repayment plan now. He said, it's done. You wouldn't know what to do. I said, return my share in steps with proof. He said, stop begging. It's embarrassing. and hung up. I looked at my blue notebook and wrote the date. I logged the missing amount and the fake notes. Writing kept me from shaking apart that night. You know that shake that starts in your hands. It crawls up your arms and settles in your jaw. I breathed slow and held my teeth together. Dinner turned ugly and then violent fast. I said, "I want my share. It's my name on it." He stood up and slapped me once across the face, not hard, but cold, sharp, and full of pride. "Stop whining and go work," he told me. My plate slid away like I wasn't there. "Pay extra or don't eat," he added softly. I had already paid my share for the week. James stared at his phone and said nothing. Silence can cut deeper than loud words sometimes. I found 2 screens missing from my parts box. My best tweezers gone, plus 1 driver head. "We borrowed," Aaron said with a grin. He said, "Your dreams are small. Think bigger." He laughed at my cards and my price list. "Victor Repairs," he read. "Like anyone cares." I kept my mouth closed and saved my breath. Not every fight needs words. Some need proof. Proof is hard to mock when it stands tall. Proof takes time men like him never give. He tried to sell my spare shells without asking. He told a friend, "I'll get you parts cheap today." I stepped in with a simple, calm line. "Those are mine. No sale without me there." He stared and asked if I wanted a scene. I said, "No scene, just respect and clean hands." Respect sounds soft, but hits like a hammer. It tells men where the wall really is. He backed off, but the grin stayed glued on. The next morning, the bank manager called me in. She asked if I meant to sign full control away. I said, "No, I thought it was limited access." She showed a copy I had not seen before. My signature sat on a broad power line. I felt the room tilt and my breath go thin. "Can this be reversed?" I asked her calmly. She said, "You need legal steps and time. Time is a tax when your plate is already light." I thanked her and walked out with a stiff neck. I checked my drawer and found 200 gone. I had counted it last night and wrote the number. No note, no message, just a hole again. My labeled food box sat empty with the label peeled. Hunger teaches faster than any book ever can. I ate oats with salt and stared at the wall. I told myself, prove more, argue less, build. When men take, systems must grow right away. Systems hold you when trust drops to 0. They carry you across gaps pride can't see. He mocked me online with a short, cheap post. "Some people can't handle real life," he wrote. A photo of my closed door sat under it. Faces laughed with emojis for minutes straight. I set my phone face down and breathed even. Not every burn needs water. Some need time. Time lets proof grow roots under your name. Roots hold when wind tries to drag you out. Have you felt that wind push at your chest? You lean forward and plant your heels hard. I wrote a clean offer and sent it once. Return $500 each month with receipts. "No more touching my things ever," I added. "No jokes about money, facts only," I wrote. He replied, "You don't make the rules here." James said, "Let's chill for now," and drifted away. Chill is a rug men throw over hot coals. Coals still burn. Rugs only hide the glow. I stopped waiting for better words from them. I started building a world where words match proof. I tightened my kit and checked each tool slowly. Drivers tight, pry cards flat, alcohol capped tight. Tape rolled right, heat pad folded, cloth clean. I filmed tests before closing any hard frame. If I break it, I fix it. Lived on my tongue. If I can't, I say so. Lived there too. I set a 7-day work warranty, parts as is. Men who work with hands respect plain terms. Plain terms outlast pride and bright promises. They keep doors open when storms hit hard. That night, I sat with my letter and breathed. "I'm tired," was the first line on the page. I held it and felt the edge whisper my name. I was seconds from giving up, and I knew it. Then I said two words that turned the wheel. "Not yet," I whispered, slow and steady. I picked one act I could finish today. I messaged 3 buyers with fair, clean words. I tested parts before money ever moved. I chose one true day over loud, empty pain. I sat on the edge of my bed and breathed slow. I held a folded letter behind my cash and stared. The first line said, "I'm tired," and it cut deep. My hands shook, and my chest felt hollow and tight. I almost let the dark take the wheel and drive. I almost let the room decide what I was worth. Have you ever felt that empty, like noise ate your name? I was seconds from giving up, and I knew it. I closed my eyes and counted each breath to 10. Then I whispered 2 words to myself. Not yet. I opened my blue notebook and made 1 page. I wrote 1-day plan at the top in bold letters. Wake early and eat simple food with no excuses. Send 3 short messages to real buyers only. Test every part before money ever leaves my hand. No calls to my brothers for 24 hours. Walk outside for 10 minutes and breathe evenly. I underlined each line so my mind could see it. Plans you can touch pull you back from edges. Doing one true thing beats fear every time. Would you try that if your head got loud tonight? I gathered my kit and checked each tool with care. Driver's tight, pry cards flat, alcohol bottle capped well, tape ready, heat pad folded, and 1 clean cloth. I set my wallet and keys in a small tray. I wrote reserve on a plain envelope in ink. Even $5 would go in there tonight. Fear spends fast if you let it hold your hand. I would hold my own hand and move first now. That choice gave me 1 steady inch of space. A man can live a whole day on 1 inch. I messaged 3 buyers with plain, honest words. I can fix today. Fair price. Careful hands. Fast reply. 1 said yes to a screen at $35 labor. 1 needed a port cleaned and a bracket tightened. 1 asked for advice and maybe a battery swap. I did not brag or promise what I could not do. Skill serves best when pride stays out of the room. Pride makes big claims your hands can't keep yet. I promised only what my hands could deliver. That is how you save your name and sleep. Morning came, and the knot still sat in my chest. I stood anyway and faced the mirror with calm. I said, "You are the same man with the same hands." I rinsed cold and ate oats plain with water. Simple food feeds work better than sweet lies. I packed my kit and put on steady shoes. I touched the letter and set it back in place. It would not choose my steps for me today. My plan and my code would choose my steps. A man must pick his steering wheel each day. I met the first client and laid out my tools. I spoke few words and let my hands speak for me. I tested the panel before closing a single screw. I seated the flex cables and checked touch lines twice. No dead spots and colors true across the glass. I wiped it clean and closed the frame with care. He paid in cash and gave a small nod of respect. Nods are quiet but heavy when they are honest. I slid $5 into my reserve envelope. Drops in a bucket grow into a wall behind you. The second job was a charge port full of lint. I cleaned it slowly and tightened the small bracket. The phone took a charge like it should again. He asked the price, and I gave a fair number. He paid and said, "You work careful." I like that careful work is slow and fast at the same time. Slow in hands, fast in results, and fewer returns. Returns cost 2 times once you count lost peace. Saving peace is how a man gets through storms. Peace shows up as sleep and a steady spine. I stepped outside and felt my chest loosen a bit. The edge was still there, but it wasn't close now. Proof beats doubt. It doesn't shout, it stands firm. I checked my blue book and read the small totals. Not loud numbers, but honest numbers I earned. I put more cash into my reserve without delay. Even small drops need a home and a plan. Buckets don't brag. They hold when wind gets rude. Holding when wind hits is real strength, friend. Strength without noise is strength that lasts. A message came from Aaron with the old bait. Move faster. Think big. Come talk and bring parts. I put the phone down and kept my day clean. I would not hand my peace back for free again. I read my plan card one more time to stay sharp. No calls to my brothers for 24 hours. Test parts before buying and log every job. Walk for 10 minutes and breathe slow and even. A plan is not a cage, it is a rail. I took a walk and matched words to my steps. I build. I protect. I improve in a calm rhythm. The rhythm settled the weight sitting on my chest. The sky didn't change, but my mind got clear. I could feel my grip on life come back strong. I could feel my back set like a straight beam. I added one rule I knew I could keep. No heavy talks on work days ever again. Guardrails keep men from driving off cliffs. Guardrails make tomorrow show up on time. I finished the third job with steady, patient hands. The battery needed a tested swap and clean seals. I used slow heat and careful pressure to lift glue. The phone woke up and held charge like new now. The client said, "Thank you, brother. This helps a lot." I said, "If I break it, I fix it." Calm and firm. He nodded because simple truth sounds like steel. I logged the work and kept a photo as proof. Photos and numbers beat old arguments later. They protect peace without a single raised voice. When the day closed, I took out the letter again. I added one line under "I'm tired" and "not yet." I wrote, "I rise by work," then signed my name. Those 5 words sat like bricks in my chest. Not heavy in a bad way, heavy like foundation. Foundations don't move because pride barks loud. They don't care about noise or old bait lines. They care about level, weight, and daily checks. My foundation was a code I could speak aloud. My code held me when my house would not. Friend, if you are near the edge tonight, breathe. You still control your breath, hands, pace, tone, time. Make one page for one day and keep it. Eat simple, work careful, and log every dollar. Tell the truth faster than your fear can talk. Protect your hours with clear no and calm yes. Put 5 in a reserve and touch it at night. 5 becomes 10, then 20, then a wall. Walls block storms and give you windows for light. Windows let peace in and keep noise out. Now let me carry you into the turn that followed. Strength did not crash in with cheers or music. It came as steady days that matched my code. Small wins stacked until they made a shield. That shield made their laughter thin and weak. It made my sleep deep and my voice even. It opened the door to my first clean breakthrough. Not luck, not magic, just system and care. Stay close. You'll hear how the build took shape, and how it held even when pressure returned. I woke and picked one line I could keep all day. I said, "Build a code I can keep today." Not a month, not a year, just this day. Big goals drown men when storms hit hard. Small promises hold when floors shake under you. I opened my blue notebook and drew 5 lines. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. I read them out loud so my hands would listen. Words train hands, and hands train a life. That is how real change starts for men. I wrote a list any man can follow right now. Wake early. Eat simple. Message buyers. Test parts. Log cash. I added one rule that protects my peace daily. No heavy talks with brothers during work hours. Work and peace ride the same rails for me. Rails keep engines fast and safe at once. I printed clean cards I could hand with pride. Victor repairs, honest work, fair, price. Fast reply I handed them with a steady voice and clear eyes. I set prices I could hold under pressure. Screen swap 35 to 60, model decides. Battery 30 to 45 based on risk. Port clean 20, 25 if it fights back. I was not selling speed. I was selling care. I added a 7-day work warranty in plain words. If I break it, I fix it, lives on my tongue. If I can't, I say so, lives there too. These lines cut lies before they spread and rot. Clean lines save money, sleep, and respect together. Aaron mocked those cards, but my face stayed calm. He said, "Real money moves fast. Drop the rules. Fast without rails is falling that looks like flying. You find the ground when the price comes due. I wasn't building a rush. I was building a life. So I trained basics like a boxer trains jabs. Screw order, cable seating, and final seal checks. I filmed test clips before every hard close. Proof turns your fault into silence without heat. Silence from critics is a quiet, heavy win. I bought tools the way a farmer buys seed. Better tweezers, thin pry cards, high purity alcohol. A magnetic mat to keep screws in lanes. A driver set that would not strip under stress. I wrote each cost and the reason in my book. Tools are seed. Don't eat your seed out of fear. Fear says, spend all or save all, both wrong. Wisdom says, invest enough to raise your level. Protect the rest so tomorrow has a guard. I set deep work blocks with 0 alerts allowed. 90 minutes on, then water and a breath. No scrolling, no bait, no side talks at all. A sticky near me read, do not disturb. When you guard your hands, your work guards your name. I handled 2 jobs steady and 1 no fix honest. The no fix cost cash, but bought strong respect. That client sent his cousin after a week. Truth travels farther than bright ads online. Bright ads fade. Truth grows roots in towns. Food rules were as strict as tool rules. Oats and eggs for work days, rice and beans later. I fed the reserve envelope every single day. 5 here, 10 there, 20 when I could. Drops became a wall behind my back slowly. A wall lets a man face wind without panic. Fear taxes men every hour when walls are gone. Walls don't talk. They hold when storms shout. Build your wall with drops, proof, and clean logs. A real test came with a small shop request. 4 screens by Friday with clean delivery. Past me might have chased cheap parts and speed. Code Me tested every panel on a harness first. I rejected weak ones even if it cost more. I labeled by model and logged time in and out. I checked touch, color, call audio, and proximity. I added tempered glass on one as a quiet thanks. Not a trick, just a standard that says, I care. Mockery kept coming, but felt softer each day. Results hung in the room like quiet armor. Armor you don't lift or shine for likes. It just changes how men speak near you. I didn't clap back or post. Any wins. I kept my rhythm, cleaned my kit, walked at dusk. I build. I protect. I improve. Matched my steps. Rhythm is a weapon in a world of drag. Keep a rhythm and your back stays straight. I wrote a storm drill for days that tilt me. If panic hits, sit, breathe, read code, drink water. Do one small task, clean tips or prep labels. Message one good client with a clear update. Touch reserve envelope and remember tomorrow. Simple drills beat wild thoughts when heat rises. Complicated plans snap when fear tightens the chest. Simple rails hold and carry a man tonight. Simple rails brought me back from sharp edges. I made peace with slow growth if it stayed true. I picked steady now over sorry later every time. I kept one promise to myself every day. I will not hand my peace back for free. Not to pride, not to pressure, not to shame. If a call smelled like bait, I moved it to morning. If a job felt risky, I tested or said no. A clean no can save a dirty week of regret. Saying no is a skill grown men must learn. One moment told me my code was working. A client said, "You showed up on time and spoke plain." He didn't praise price, he praised trust. Trust is the floor under every quiet win. With trust, steps sound like truth on wood. Without trust, steps squeak and draw eyes. I would rather move quiet on solid boards. Loud steps on weak wood break ankles fast. Quiet steps reach doors that actually open. My code did not make me rich overnight. It made me unshakable where it mattered most. I could face mockery and keep my schedule. I could hear bait offers and protect my pace. I did not hate my brothers. I set terms. Terms that honor my time and my peace first. A man without terms pays hidden taxes forever. Terms turn leaks into locks you can trust. Locks keep love safe when storms roll through. Friend, if you need a code, borrow mine today. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. Add 2 lines that save you in storms. If I break it, I fix it. If I can't, I say so. Print it, pocket it, and say it out loud. Your mouth trains your hands train your life. One steady day becomes 2, then 3, then weeks. Then one morning, you wake up taller inside. Now the grind pressed harder, and I stayed calm. Hunger barked, bills pushed, and bait kept coming. I kept the code, fed the reserve, and built patterns. Patterns beat luck and beat noise in the end. Small wins stacked until they formed a shield. That shield met a bigger chance and didn't bend. The first big turn rose out of these rails. It showed care outlasts speed every time. Stay with me, the next part will prove it. You will hear how the work spoke for me. Hunger is a sharp teacher, and it talks straight to men. I woke and said my code out loud with calm. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. I ate oats and eggs with water. Nothing extra at all. Simple fuel keeps. Hands steady when days get hard. I checked my kit and wiped every tool clean. Drivers tight. Pry cards flat. Alcohol capped tight always. I slid my reserve envelope into my inside pocket. Even $5 matters when storms keep coming. That wall of small drops kept my chest steady. A man named Kareem sent a short message early. 2 screens today, tested first, fair rate. I said, yes. Parts at cost, labor $35 each. He liked the clean words and set a time window. I tested panels on a harness before paying cash. Weak lines showed on one, so I rejected it. Proof before purchase saves sleep and fights later. Have you learned that yet, or does pride still spend you? Pride spends faster than any thief with quick hands. I will not let pride hold my wallet again. Heat pressed like a weight as noon came fast. I drank water and walked 1 block for breath. Walking moves heat out of the head quietly. Movement beats the fog when pressure builds quick. I finished the first unit with slow, careful hands. I filmed a short clip before closing the frame tight. Film now saves a long debate later on. He paid labor and nodded like a working man. Nods from workers carry a special weight. They last longer than loud cheers and noise. Aaron pinged with the same tired pitch again. Scale with me, cut corners, make it fast. I wrote, quality first or no deal, brother. He typed a laughing face and a line about speed. Speed without rails is falling, that looks like flying. The ground still comes, and it doesn't care. I put my phone face down and protected pace. Pace is a weapon. It kills sloppy work slowly. Sloppy work taxes you twice in cash and sleep. I won't pay that tax ever again, friend. The second screen showed a faint shadow at test. I swapped it before a single screw went in. Early catches are the whole game in repairs. Late catches turn into your fault without proof. I kept the bad panel bagged with a test clip. I returned it with no drama and got a swap. People respect clean evidence and straight tone. Straight tone is stronger than any loud speech. Loud burns hot and then leaves you empty. Straight builds ground where men can step calmly. James sent a message with half a joke and a jab. Still counting pennies, accountant boy? I typed one word back, working, and left it. Short answers protect peace from bait and traps. Have you learned to keep replies short under heat? Short is not weak. Short is a locked door. Doors teach men how to act around your time. If they won't learn, the door stays closed. Closed doors are love for both sides when used right. Clouds rolled in and slowed the walk-ins a bit. I posted, "Free checks today, honest advice only." 2 clients came with different kinds of trouble. The first was board damage past my safe skill. I gave 2 good referrals and wished him well. He thanked me like I fixed it in front of him. Respect comes easy when truth arrives fast. The second needed a battery I had in stock. I tested health, swapped, sealed, and logged the job. He paid fair and said, "You work careful, brother." Hunger barked again near late afternoon. Loud. I ate rice and beans I prepped last night. Planning dinners saved me from dumb spending. Dumb spending steals from tomorrow's wall quickly. I cleaned my mat and checked my driver heads. I replaced a worn tip before it stripped screws. Small care prevents large losses under pressure. Prevention is quiet and never gets claps, but it keeps your week from breaking in half. Quiet wins outlive noisy gasps every time. Aaron tried one more push with a fake favor. Bring parts, we talk, and I'll open doors. Doors built by pride slam shut the next day. I said, my rules, my pace, or I pass. He typed, you changed, as if that was dirt. I wrote, I chose, because choice is a backbone. Backbones grow when men stop renting their peace. I'm done renting. I bought my hours with rules. These rules pay me back every single morning. They also pay me back each quiet night. Kareem asked for 2 more units by the weekend. I checked my stock and said yes with terms. Terms protect men from surprises and stress. I blocked 90 minutes with all alerts off. Deep work blocks built the best parts of my life. In those blocks, my name grows steady in town. Your name needs training like your hands do. Train it with kept promises and clean logs. Logs tell the truth even when nerves shake. Truth beats nerves when you face clients. I wrote a small storm drill on a fresh card. If panic hits, sit, breathe, drink water, read code. Do one small task. Clean tips, prep labels, or test. Message one good client with a clear update. Touch reserve envelope and remember tomorrow. Drills save men when the brain tries to run. You can't think your way out of every storm. You move with rails until your mind warms up. Then you think. Then you plan the next step. Steps, not speeches, build a life that holds. Night came, and I cleaned my kit with care. I logged every dollar and every part change. I counted the reserve and added 10 more. 10 is small, but it speaks like a stone. Stones stack into walls that take the wind. I read my code one last time before sleep. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. I felt the day settle under my feet, not on my chest. That's where weight belongs when a man stands. Listen, friend, mockery did not stop in 1 week. Hunger did not leave after one steady day. Bills still knocked and wanted the front row, but patterns changed the shape of every punch. Patterns turned pain into training and fuel. Patterns turned noise into something I could use. Small wins stacked and felt like quiet armor. Armor you don't carry, It just hangs around you. It makes people lower their voice near your name. It made theirs lower, even if pride fought back. Let me show you how the breakthrough came next. Not because they stopped, but because I didn't. I kept rails when they pushed and waves hit. I kept pace when pride laughed at careful hands. Then a big order walked through a calm door. It met a system that could carry real weight. It met a man who could say no to noise. That is where the first big turn took root. Stay with me now. This next part is proof. Proof that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I woke and said one line before anything else. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I checked my kit twice with a calm mind. Drivers tight, pry cards flat, alcohol capped, heat pad ready. I opened my blue book and reviewed my rails. Label, test, log, deliver, and film every proof. A message came from Malik, a fleet manager. He needed 8 screens this week. Clean delivery. I felt steady because my system could carry weight. Steady beats hype when pressure shows up hard. I asked for models, damage notes, and clear terms. I wrote parts at cost and labor 35 each. He agreed fast because order makes leaders relax. I tested every panel with a harness first. I rejected 2 weak ones with no second thought. I labeled each bag with model and client tag. I set deep work windows and silenced my phone. 90 minutes on, then water and a breath. I started with simple units to build early pace. Small wins stack and power the harder ones. I opened the first phone and tested before closing. I seated the flex cables and checked touch lines twice. I matched color and brightness with a known good. I filmed a short clip before final screws each time. I wiped the glass and packed each one in foam. I logged time and a note like tight bracket. Notes turn lessons into tools for next time. They stop repeat mistakes when fatigue arrives. The second and third units kept the rhythm true. Rhythm saves energy when long days hit. Aaron pinged with the corner cut pitch again. Skip checks, scale fast, take bigger bites. Skipping checks spends your name for lunch money. Lunch money fills today and empties tomorrow. I typed, quality or no deal, that's the rule. He wrote, you're slow, and tried to laugh me off. He did not see that slow hands build fast weeks. He did not see the engine I was building. Engines pull weight. Hype just rides along. Weight proves what's real without shouting. By midday, 5 phones were tested and labeled. I ate oats and 2 eggs and drank water. I stretched my hands and rolled my shoulders slowly. Care for the body protects the work quietly. I cleaned my mat and reset the screw tray. I pulled 2 fresh seals for worn frames. I refused to close units with tired adhesive. Small choices stop big returns later on. Returns cost double once you count lost piece. Piece is profit most men forget to count. Unit 6 had a stripped screw, holding stubborn. I used a thin rubber band to gain grip. It turned slow and saved the board clean. Tools respond to calm hands better than loud hands. Calm told the screw, we have time today. The frame opened and the swap went smooth. I checked proximity sensor and both mics with calls. I filmed tests, labeled bags, and logged time. I wrote rubber band save for future me. Future me always pays me back for notes. The 7th unit flashed a faint backlight line. I caught it during the harness test early. I swapped the panel before closing the frame. Early saves money, sleep, and your warranty. Late makes you throw parts at loud problems. I returned the bad panel with clean evidence. The parts counter swapped it with 0 debate. Evidence turns maybe into you are right. Right earns respect that grows month by month. The last unit had a bent corner frame edge. I trimmed adhesive to match the true shape. I warned Malik about light frame wear clearly. I added a note for a future reframe slot. Honest notes beat false promises every time. False promises steal from tomorrow's trust. We set a reframe for his next payroll. He liked straight talk from steady hands. Men who run crews spot lies in seconds. They relax when the work speaks plain. Delivery felt firm, not shaky or loud. I packed each phone with foam and clear labels. I printed 2 invoices with clean terms written. Parts at cost, labor 35, 7-day work warranty. Parts as is, sat bold to keep fights away. I brought my harness to live test on site. We checked each screen together, calm and direct. No dead spots, no ghost touch, colors true. He nodded like a man who found a good bridge. He paid in full and added a small extra. He asked, "Can you handle 5 to 10 weekly?" I said, "Yes, if quality stays first, always." He said, "I want uptime more than cheap words." We shook hands like men who waste no words. I walked home and touched the key in my pocket. A key means a door I can lock at night. A locked door means sleep without fear now. Sleep protects hands better than speeches do. Strong weeks start with clean sleep and respect. Strong months start the very same way. I split the cash with cold discipline and speed. Parts float first to keep supply steady, always. Rent next, then tools, and reserve last. I set 20 aside to thank my friend Ben. Gratitude keeps a man from turning bitter. Bitter men break parts and burn bridges fast. Thankful men sharpen skills and open doors. Doors open for steady hands and plain truth. Plain truth sells longer than bright ads anywhere. Ads fade. Trust keeps ringing your phone. James sent, "Big order, huh?" Must feel good, I typed, working, and kept my pace steady. Short replies protect peace from bait and spin. Aaron called and tried a softer tone now. "Let's celebrate. You've got momentum," he said. I said, "Not this week. I'm planning stock first, claps later, or not at all. Claps don't fix returns when lights fade out. Stock and systems keep a man standing. Systems hold when wind gets rude." Have you felt respect land like a quiet weight? It doesn't cheer. It sits and keeps you upright. It straightens your back and evens your voice. It gives room to say no without fear. It lets you plan months, not minutes anymore. That is what this win gave me, friend. It didn't shout. It built my spine deeper. It showed slow can outrun fast with rails. It taught me proof is the language that lasts. Proof doesn't need noise to be heard. I returned the weak panel with my test video. The counter swap was smooth because evidence led. I restocked 2 common screens and 1 battery. I logged costs and updated my float level. I cleaned driver heads and wiped the mat clean. I set my phone to quiet for deep work again. I wrote 3 lines on a card near my bench. Keep promises. Protect pace. Guard peace. Those 3 carry me when days run long. They kept me steady when noise tried again. Night tried to tempt me to post a brag line. I let that urge pass like a loud truck. Bragging spends energy and buys nothing real. Building keeps energy and prints proof tomorrow. Proof buys safe sleep and steady clients. Proof made their laughter softer each week. They still joked, but the echo faded away. Results hung in the air like a shield. Shields you don't carry are the best shields. They work while your hands keep building. Friend, if you want a breakthrough that holds, build rails. Test before you close. Film before you argue. Label and log. Deliver with clean terms always. Eat simple and walk. Sleep like it's part of work. Say no to speed that taxes you later. Say yes to systems you can repeat under stress. 1 steady week becomes 2, then 4. Then your hands stop shaking when work piles up. Then silence starts to feel like a win. and wins stop needing noise to be real. They heard about my work from men they trust now. Kareem said the vans stayed up and drivers were calm. Ben told them I returned every favor fast and clean. Mr. Khan said I kept my word like Dad taught us. Respect moved without me posting a single thing online. Respect travels fast when proof walks ahead of your name. Their jokes got softer and started to pause at last. Have you seen a man stop mid-smirk and think hard? That pause means truth is working on his pride. Truth was finally louder than their noise. Friend. Aaron called with a tone I had not heard before. He asked, "Are you steady now? Really steady, Victor?" I said, "I'm steady, not loud, and not rushing anything." He asked, "How much are you making each week then?" I said, "Enough to stand and sleep clean at night." He went quiet, and I heard him take a long breath. Silence means a man is thinking past his pride line. Pride hates numbers that don't need applause or noise. Pride hates systems it cannot mock or bend. Would you stay calm when pride studies your steps? He came by and kept his hands off my things. He looked at labels, receipts, and the blue notebook. He touched nothing and kept his voice level and plain. He said, "You built something real without me." Here I said, "I built it because I needed peace daily." He nodded like he finally saw the fight I fought. My war was not against him in the end. It was against panic, noise, and bait lines everywhere. It was one with proof stacked day after day. Proof speaks long after loud talk grows tired. James sent a client without jokes for once. He wrote, "He pays fair and needs it done right." I replied, "Quality first. Time depends on the model." The job went clean, and the man left calm and sure. James texted, "He says you speak plain and straight now." I wrote, "That is the only way this stays solid." He replied, "Glad you didn't fold under heat there." That line sat heavy in my chest for a while. Folding is easy for a minute and costly for months. Holding costs now, but it pays for years later. We met for coffee with clear terms in place. 1 hour only, neutral spot, no money talk allowed. They arrived on time and kept their hands still there. No jokes about pennies, pace, or my simple cards. We spoke about now, not the dirty past again. They asked how I keep returns low and clean today. I said, "Test first, film tests, write clear terms always." I said, "If I break it, I fix it. No games ever." Their faces showed respect even with pride inside. Respect shows first in eyes, then in tone after. Aaron tried to hand me cash with strings attached. He said, "Use this, but let me set your prices." I said, "Help that moves. My rules is not help, brother. Boundaries are a door with a strong lock and frame. A good lock protects love. It does not kill it." He put the stack away and said, "Okay then." A small okay can mean a lot under weight. It sounded like a hinge that finally oiled up. Doors open smoother when rules are known clearly. Rules keep peace from leaking into old noise. They asked about the night I held that letter. I said, "I wrote not yet and kept small steps then." I said, "I built rails so panic could not drive." I told them the 5 tools I use each day: breath, hands, pace, tone, and time in control. Any man can use those without permission given. They listened without trying to win the talk now. Guilt sat there, but it did not own my back. Their guilt belongs to them. I won't carry it. I carry my code, my work, and my peace. They watched how I split cash without noise made. Parts float first to feed the engine each week. Rent next, then tools, then the reserve after that. Saying no is money, I told them calmly then. No saves a week of sorry and waste often. They nodded like men who learned late in life. Late is better than never when stakes are real. A late lesson can still build a solid bridge. Bridges carry weight when built on straight truth. Truth holds even when wind presses hard. James asked, "Are we good now, you and me?" I said, "We are clear. Good takes time and proof." Clear means rules, not fast hugs and easy shows. Clear means call first and no surprise favors anymore. Clear means no touching my things ever again. Clear means no mockery about pennies or pace. He said, "I can keep that," and met my eyes. I said, "Keep it for months, and we will see." Trust turns to steel only after heat and time. Steel needs pressure before it earns the name. People started using my name like a compass. Ask Victor. He tells the truth and shows work. That line made phones ring at good hours again. It beats any ad or bright post a mile away. Ads fade fast when hands are sloppy and loud. Proof grows strong when hands are steady and calm. My brothers heard those lines from men they trust. That is what moved them, not any speech from me. Outcomes teach when words would only argue. Outcomes turned their tone from sharp to measured. Aaron sent one last test to check my frame. "Come now. Bring 2 screens, we'll talk here." I typed, "No screens move without payment first." He said, "You got rules for everything, man. Wow." I said, "Rules keep me from standing at edges." I did not explain more. I didn't need to now. You don't owe long talks for guarding your peace. He went quiet and then typed, "Understood." Understood is small, but it is solid ground. Solid ground lets a man plan months ahead. Friend, this is how truth settled between us now. It did not crash in with sirens and loud posts. It walked in with invoices and quick, clean returns. It stayed in short yes and clean no each time. It turned their voices from sharp to measured lines. It turned my chest from tight to open, steady. Not perfect, not a storybook fix, just real. Real is enough for a man who almost faded. Real holds when old wind tries to rise again. Real keeps doors steady while rails hold firm inside. He asked to meet, and I set the terms calmly. I said, 1 hour, neutral place, no money talk. I said, call before you come. Don't just show up. Boundaries feel like a door with a strong lock. A good lock protects love. It does not kill it. He arrived on time and kept his voice low. He looked at me like he finally felt the weight. I kept my breath even and my hands steady. Calm is the strongest tone a man can hold. Calm turns heat into steps a man can keep. I laid a small card on the table between us. I said, "These are my rules if we want a future. Call first, no surprise visits, ever," I began. "No touching my things, ask first and wait. No loans, gifts only if I choose and can. No money talk during work hours, that's protected. If voices rise, the meeting ends right there." I read each line slow so there was no fog. He listened like a man walking on new ground. He said, "I can live with this," and breathed out. James asked if we were good, and I said, "Clear." Clear is stronger than fake smiles or fast hugs. Clear means the door has rules, and both hold them. Clear means we respect each other's time and work. He said, "I was wrong for joining. Those jokes," I said. "Thank you for naming the wrong out loud." Naming wrong makes it possible to build right. Silence lets rot spread until boards snap. I said, "Don't overtalk this. Show me change." Keep your word and keep your hands clean. Aaron came with a test that carried strings. He said, "Here's cash, but I set your prices." I smiled a little and said, "That won't happen." He said, "I'm trying to help. Don't be proud." I said, "Help that moves my rules is not help." "Strong lines," said Calm. "Teach without a shout. Boundaries are teachers when kept steady." He leaned back, then put the cash away slow. He said, "You're different now," like it stung. I said, "I'm disciplined now, and I like it." I wrote a family policy in my blue notebook. No late calls after 8 goes to tomorrow. No borrowing tools. Use your own or rent. No errands during deep work. Text and wait. If I say no, the answer stays no. No guilt. Policies save peace when feelings get messy. Feelings are waves. Policies are harbor walls. A harbor keeps ships safe when storms roll through. I chose to be a harbor for my own mind. That choice kept me from old panic and rush. We tried short visits with the clock running. 1 hour exactly, with a soft chime at 50. We talked about now and not the dirty past. Past has its place, but not in every talk. We spoke about systems, not fresh promises. We spoke about what each man can control. I control breath, hands, pace, tone, and time. He controls words, arrival, and respect. Those 5 and those 3 build a quiet bridge. Quiet bridges carry more weight than loud ones. James sent a client and didn't hover once. He said, "Treat him right," and then went silent. I did the job clean and sent "handled" after. He replied, "Thanks," and left it there. Aaron tried once more to push speed over care. I replied, "Quality or I don't do it at all." He paused, then typed back one word, "Understood." Understood is a small brick that holds weight. Stack enough and trust can rest there. Not the old trust, a new one built on steel. I gave them both chances without extra pressure. If you visit, arrive on time and honor the hour. If you text, use facts and leave bait out. If you refer, don't promise what I didn't say. They hit those marks more often than before. Not perfect, but measured steps in the right lane. Improvement matters more than sweet apologies. Apologies without change are just soft lies. Change without noise is how men rebuild roads. We were laying asphalt, not lighting fires. One afternoon, Aaron stood outside and waited. He did not knock hard or test the handle. He texted, "Here," and I opened with calm. He handed a small part and a clean receipt. "Thought you might need this. No strings," he said. No strings felt like air after a tight shirt. I said, "Thank you," and he nodded and left. That short exchange held more respect than years. Respect is small, sharp, and heavy in a good way. It sits in your chest and keeps your back straight. I set one last boundary that changed our tone. No jokes about my pace, pennies, or code. Mockery is a tax I no longer pay. I said it once, calm, and never repeated it. Repeating rules invites people to test them more. Holding rules without debate teaches faster. If a line was crossed, I ended the meeting. "We're done for today. Try again next week." Ending fast stops rot from spreading wide. Rot spreads in slow rooms with nervous smiles. Friend, this is the shape of our new bond now. Not anger, not drama, not revenge or noise. Calm rules, measured chances, and proof on paper. Doors that lock and open on clear terms only. Calls that wait until morning like they should. Hands that work and deliver what they promised. Voices that say little and mean every word. You asked how men heal without losing themselves. They do it like this, with rails, with time, with truth. That is how I will live from now on. Peace did not arrive with cheers or lights. It came quiet and stayed because I guarded it. I kept my rules in my pocket and in my chest. I woke early and read them before I spoke. Speak less. Prove more. Protect peace. Honor time. Guard money. Simple lines, but they felt like steel to me. They kept me steady when old noise tried to rise. You know that pull back to old fires and fights. I felt it too, but I held the line. Holding the line saved my future and my sleep. My days look simple now, and simple is strong. I eat oats and eggs and drink water first. I wipe my tools and check every driver head. I test parts before I buy a single one. I log jobs with names, dates, and clean notes. I set deep work blocks with alerts off. I walk at dusk and match words to steps. I build. I protect. I improve, I say. Those words lock my back and even my voice. Calm is not soft. Calm is controlled power. Money sits in clear lanes that do not leak. Parts float first to keep the engine running. Rent next, then tools, then the reserve last. I drop 5, 10, or 20 whenever I can. Drops become a wall behind me over time. A wall lets a man say no without fear. No saves cash and protects peace together. No keeps bridges and buys full sleep at night. Sleep is a tool men forget to protect. Sleep keeps hands true and minds straight. You ask about me and my brothers now. We talk inside rules that protect both sides. Call first, 1 hour, no surprise visits ever. No money talk during my work hours at all. No touching my things. Ask and wait for yes. If voices rise, the meeting ends and resets. Respect lives in these lines and stays there. Respect is not a speech. It is a system. Systems hold when hearts shake and pride barks. My system keeps peace even on rough days. Aaron tries more now, and I notice the work. He keeps his hands to himself and his tone plain. He says thanks and leaves fast when the hour ends. He sends a client and does not hover near. James sticks to facts and keeps bait out. He asks clear questions and hears full answers. I don't rush the word forgive with them. I measure change by patterns under pressure. Patterns tell truth that words try to hide. Time and pressure make or break trust. Sundays are for checks, plans, and small fixes. I read my logs and circle weak steps. I update my stock list with parts and seals. I clean driver heads and replace worn tips. I print a few cards and restock sleeves. I set my week and block deep hours. I send 2 messages to good clients. Need anything checked? In calm, plain words. Small touches beat loud ads every month. Quiet care builds a name that travels. I help when I can, inside my rails always. A man comes in with a phone and bus pass. I clean the port and tighten one bracket. He is short 10, and I wave the gap off. Handled, I say, and shake his hand. Not every payment is cash in the moment. Sometimes payment is respect that spreads. Respect returns as doors and safe sleep. That balance feels right inside my chest. It builds the town and builds the man too. I keep a storm drill ready like a tool. If panic rises, I sit, breathe, and drink water. I read my code and clean one small tip. I do one task I can finish in 1 hour. I message one client with a clear update. I touch my reserve and remember tomorrow. Panic hates calm motion and simple rails. Calm motion breaks panic, like dawn breaks fog. Fog looks huge until sunlight shows the road. Then you walk forward without drama. Here is what the climb taught me in full. Respect starts with how I treat myself daily. The world follows the rules I keep in private. Family should build you, not tax you always. If they tax you, step back and set terms. Terms protect love and work at the same time. Speed without a base is just falling fast. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Fast is winning. Proof is the only music that lasts long. It plays low and keeps your back straight. Friend, if you are near the edge tonight, breathe. You still control your breath, hands, pace, tone, time. Make 1 page for 1 day and keep it. Eat simple, work careful, and log every dollar. Tell the truth faster than your fear can talk. Protect your hours with clear no and calm yes. Put 5 in a reserve and touch it at night. 5 becomes 10, then 20, then a wall. Walls block storms and make room for light. Light shows doors you can open with calm hands. I will leave you with a picture you can hear. A clean bench and a blue book open wide. Drivers that fit and a mat with straight rows. A phone screen lighting up clean and true. A steady voice saying, "It's handled. Here you go." A door that locks and a man who sleeps deep. A spine that holds because the code held first. That is the quiet life I built from hurt. That is a win no one can twist or steal. That is my proof, and it is enough. If you are still here and enjoy this story, please like this video. It really helps me know you want more content like this. If this story gave you some strength, please share it with your friends or someone who needs it. If you have any questions or suggestions about this story, please type them in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts. If you want more stories like this, please subscribe to this channel. There are many more on the way. Remember, your worth is not determined by how others treat you. You can still rise above.